Hello. I'm going to start today's video by saying this is not financial advice, but this is some good theory that I'm going to propose to you. And before the video starts, or it's starting, but before I get into what I'm going to talk about, I would like to mention that I do get about 70 views or 100 views, but yet my likes are always at like 10 likes to maybe 20 likes. So if I can just get you to click the like button, and if you want to, please subscribe. But my goal is just to try to get at least half likes as I do views. I just want to see out there who actually likes my video. So I'm going to continue by talking about why BCHG and Ltcn is not popping. Because you're looking at BTC, and we all know BTC just crushed through 112. Like I told you, the last video I made in the beginning, I said that BTC has been consolidating around 105 to 108, right? And I felt that I said sometimes next week or in a week or so, I expected to pop off. And, fortunately, I was correct. And it's currently sitting at 116, trying to get to 117. So it's basically gone up almost 10,000 past 108. And I want you to look at BCHG compared to the NAV. Sorry, I put below premium, but it's actually below NAV prices, right? So that should be changed to NAV. And Ltcn is approximately 3% below NAV prices. So remember how I said that the volume needs to be above 300K in order for things to start rolling, because that means people have more buying interest. Because if it's at 300K and BCHG and Ltcn ends up green, that means there's more buying pressure than selling pressure. That means the investors are beating out the shorters, or the retail investors are beating out the profit takers, right? So obviously today we did end up with barely green. So that means we need more retail investors. And for some reason, these people just like to keep BCHG and Ltcn around 10% below NAV and 3% below NAV. I have a speculation of why I think it is, but I'll save time for another video, because that might also take a long time to talk about. So, like I said, if our volume is not above 300K, I don't think we will have any movement more than $1. Most likely, it'll be less than $1. And even if it's below 300K volume and it's more than $1, I'm pretty sure the very next day or the day after, it's gonna be trimmed down by shorters, because they have puts on these funds, right? So what I want you to do is I'm gonna talk about Ethereum. Keep an eye on 4K, because right now it's basically nearing 3K, right? And I don't think I've seen it past 3K for the last couple months or so. And I think 4K was the all-time high for this crypto season. So once ETH is at 4K, that probably means that's the start of going into alt season. Because as you all know, every season, Ethereum will run before all the other alts start to run. So this is why we need to keep our eyes on Ethereum. But I want to mention ETHU, because to me, ETHU, it's easier for me to look at the average volume of ETHU to get a good indication of how strong Ethereum is running. So if you notice, for the past week, the volume for ETHU is at 3 million, right? And today we exceeded 3 million by almost like double. So that means ETHU is gaining momentum. And tomorrow, if ETHU continues to stay at like close to 3,000, I'm expecting the next day volume to be 5.4 million. And if we consistently see 5.4 to 6 million volume for ETHU, then we know that like Ethereum is popping off. And when Ethereum pops off, right? Like I said here, other alts will pop up. And why do they do that, right? Because it's basically a mini green flag when Ethereum pops up. So right now, all the shorters, right, are probably looking at Ethereum and they're shorting Litecoin, perhaps even Solana, Bitcoin Cash, and all the other coins. They're continuing to short it because ETH is still under 4K. So that's why I would say don't expect any like big pumps if ETH is not over 4K. And once it goes over 4K, that's when people will probably buy into LTC and BCH. And then next thing you know, the NAP prices will also go up for LTCN and BCHG. So as they see the potential of LTC going up, they're going to buy into LTCN because they know that they can make more profit from LTCN and BCHG than BCH itself and LTC itself. For example, LTC's all-time high was around 400, right? And right now it's close to 100. So technically, yes, they can make 4 times as much. But if you look at LTCN, for example, it's at $8, or not even $8, it's at $7.50. If you multiply that by 4, it's $30 for LTCN. And remember the last time when LTCN was at $25? LTC was only 140. So if LTC doubles, right, and it turns into close to 300, then LTCN $25 back then would be $50. So just imagine if LTC got to, let's say, 280 and LTCN was $50, how much profit would you make? Okay, if you were buying LTC, you would only make maybe 3 times profit. But if you bought in LTCN and it goes from $7.50 to $50, that's about, I would say, 6 times, right? So that means, would you take that 6 times profit or would you take the 3 times profit? So that's why I'm just saying there's a lot of risk takers in crypto. So if they see that, it's going to register into their brain, right, that they're going to want to buy into LTCN and BCHG for a bigger profit. And once again, this is just all theory, right? I'm just trying to keep you all motivated in being patient. And I know that there's always a big chance that you become bag holders. And I would say that's the worst case scenario, is you just wait for the next crypto run. And unfortunately, I feel bad for all of those that have invested the majority of their retirement or all of their retirement into this, and they need the money right away. Well, that's extremely unfortunate, but that's a lesson that we all need to learn, right? But I'm just saying, worst case scenario, you become bag holders. And you wait until the next crypto season and you can sell out, right? Until then, you can average cost down. We'll never know. Then again, there's always the element of ETFs, right? But at least for ETFs, you know that the shorters can no longer short the stock, and the stock will go in according to the prices. So if LTC can hit 200 again next crypto season, or 300, then you know that your LTCN can be at in the $20 range. So at the very least, you can make your money back. If you average costs down, then you can even come out with a profit, right? So I'm just saying that's probably the one of the worst case scenarios. The absolute worst is it disappears and you lose all your money. But I would say that's probably highly unlikely to happen. So like I said, some of the people are just continuing to take small profits because they're watching Ethereum, and it's not at 4K. But once it gets close to 4K, I'm expecting these people to stop taking profits, and then now they're probably going to buy shares and just wait for the alt season and wait for everything to explode. So it may take a little bit longer because BTC is proving that we're still in the cycle season. It's at 117,000, right? When it was at 75,000, everyone was crying and saying it was over. But now it hopped from 75,000 to over 115. That's 40K. And it still has length to run. Because ETH is not even hitting 4K yet. So I'm expecting ETH to hit 4K. So I see BTC, like I said before, hitting at 150. And that's probably on my lower side. My higher side is over 200, right? That's my higher side. I don't think it will hit 300K, but I'd be extremely surprised if it does. Yeah, so if people are going to put that much money into BTC, that means they're going to take a chunk of that money and now they'll put it into alts and other like grayscales, right? To pump it up to make maybe like a 8 to 10x profit or even more than that. And the reason why BTC is up to 116K is because, the shorts they had to cover. They had to cover their puts in which it got liquidated, right? So once it gets liquidated, they have to put money in, right? And now BTC is going up to 116, and then knowing these shorters, they're gonna be mad, and then now they're gonna buy other puts maybe at 120 or whatever it is, and then people are gonna, because they're expecting people to take profits, from BTC, because it has happened. Because remember how it got up to 112, and next thing you know, it went down to, I think, like 98 or whatever, and then it bounces back to 111, and then it's going back down to 103. It's just because of some of these people that have their puts, they're trying to do their best to manipulate it to push the price down, right? So it's always going to zigzag up and down like that. It's not going to go like a straight arrow like you expect it to be. But yeah, so we can expect a little bit of a pullback. I'm saying BTC can probably get to 118, maybe 120. It just depends where the investors are putting out their puts, right? And there's also a heat chart that you can check out. Okay, I'm not gonna go online and see it, but you can look it up yourself, that there are heat charts, and that will give you a good indication of where BTC will go up to, and then it's gonna have a little pullback. So it's a rinse and repeat process, and it's going to take time. That's why in order for you to be able to put up with this, we need patience. Hence my name is Patience. So there are days where I do lose my patience, right? But it just regains itself because I use reason to try and remind myself of why we should be patient. And now I'm using this reason to make videos for all of you to also be patient. So yeah, that's all that I have for this video. And until then, let's go, boys. We're approaching 120, and hopefully soon BTC will be 150. And then I would say that's when everything starts to get interesting. All right, good night, and try your best to be patient.